I'm here at Rebel Capitalist once again. I'm with one of the founders of the Collective Inner Circle, Russell Gray, and Russ has started a new website and you're doing some videos and such, right?
I am. So I've just kind of looked at what's going on in the world, as you know, Mike, and I've decided that we're going through a mega trend of decentralization. I think the rise of gold and the escape of the hegemony of the dollar, Bitcoin is evidence of that. I think that you look at the pushback, the populist movement with the rise of popularity of a guy like Donald Trump, or in Britain, Nigel Farage. And so I think part of that is an extension of the desire for people to be free. And we're pushing back on monopolies. We've seen legacy media, or what I call monopoly media, it's crumbled, right? Guys like you have bigger audiences than CNN. It's just insane, right? But I think Main Street capitalism is the next iteration in that. We've got an environment where there's a big movement to bring productivity, actual productive activity, not just pushing financialized paper around, but actually building things and employing people and manufacturing things. And I think that's going to open up a whole new era of growth. And in your presentation, you mentioned, which I think is totally true, that we've got to outgrow the debt. We're not going to extinguish this debt except with growth. And so we can't have 2%, 3% GDP. We need 5, 6, 7, 8% GDP. Well, how are we going to do that? We have to unlock tremendous entrepreneurial opportunity. And I think now is the time to do that. So I'm really focused on encouraging people to participate in Main Street capitalism.
And so what's the name of your website and this new thing that because you're all for Main Street and not Wall Street. So tell us the name.
Yeah, so it's mainstreetcapitalist.com, and of course people can always find me at russellgray.com, and then the podcast, and then we have mentoring communities and things like that. And of course the other thing is the project, the Raising Capitalists Project, which is about helping parents learn how to raise Main Street capitalists. So if we don't capture the next generation, I don't know if you saw what just happened in Australia, but they've got the 30% now unrealized capital gains tax.
Yeah, even on superannuations, which is the equivalent of an IRA. Can you imagine the government deciding, your stock is up this much in your IRA,
or your gold,
and or your gold, and you haven't sold. So gold is up 50% or something like that, and you haven't sold any of it, so you haven't realized any gain yet, but they're going to tax you on that theoretical gain.
It's economic suicide, and it grows out of people who don't have an economic education, being elected by people who don't have an economic education. And they want to do something good for the world, but they don't understand the mechanics. It's almost kind of Jesus, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. I'm not going to call them bad people, but like Kiyosaki talked about when he was on stage, it's like you've got people who don't have an economic understanding trying to make policy. And all of human society is organized around economic activity, and policies which regulate human society are going to have economic consequences. And so if you have people who are making those decisions, whether they're the person in the voting booth or in the legislature or in the executive branch, if they don't have an economic education, then they're going to make bad economic policy. And people say, well, yeah, but I can just go hide in the corner. Entrepreneurs are kind of the mind your own business crowd. They're like, change your rules, do whatever you want. I'll outmaneuver you. I'm smarter than you are. I'll go hide in a corner. But when you back people like us into a corner, we're going to turn around and face you. We're going to start to fight. I believe we've come to that place, and that we're in a turning point, if you will, in the world where people are not willing to take any more. And I believe that, there's a lot of ways this can manifest. I don't want it to be revolution. I think we're kind of undergoing a revolution. I want it to be a revival. I want it to be a revival of Main Street capitalism. If people get up every day and they own their business and they work and they see the fruits of their labor and they're free to acquire and build wealth and have the things they want, I think we will have a better, more peaceful, more prosperous society and world. And so we have to get involved. You've been an educator forever. You've changed millions of lives, you and Kiyosaki and people. I'm so happy to be kind of a part of that tribe. And I just felt like at this season of my career, I want to really narrow the focus on what I think is the main problem. Kind of like what you've done with Freedom Farms. You said, hey, this is going to be my mission. We can't all be on the same mission. You got yours, I got mine, right? But I think everybody needs to be on one. And the way you express your mission is what I call purpose-driven Main Street capitalism. You pick your purpose, you build a business around it, and you go make yourself a ton of money by making a difference in the world.
Wow. That was great. I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.